Today in the CHEAP-O Spotlight, the Vici VC99 CHEAP-O Digital Multimeter, 6,000 counts. Vici has been around for a long time. This incarnation is probably going on about a decade now. So yeah, about 10 years old. Really nothing new in terms of the general look and feel, but you never know, things might be a little bit different on the inside. I have to say that Vici really does give you a few things. First off, you get a really nice looking case. Always a bonus when you get a nice carrying case for that multimeter. And this one is no exception. It comes with that Vici logo. Nice zipper. Good padding. Hey, what's not to like? What would a case be without anything inside it? Well, no worries here. We've got lots of things, including a thermal sensor, thermal probe, thermal para, whatever you want to call it. Yes, the meter does do temperature. As well as you get your default stock test leads. Now, once again, these are different than the usually CHEAP-O leads that we see or have grown accustomed to. These ones have a fairly nice, ow, whoa, whoa, that was sharp. Okay, these are really sharp. Alrighty, and we have a Cat 3 1000 volt 20 amp. Take that with a grain of salt. Nice shrouding on the end. We'll see how well those perform. You also get this little set of crocodile leads. They're really short, so I would assume these are going to be for checking capacitors. Not a whole lot of distance here to work with, but hey, bonus, extra leads are always a nice thing. Finally, you get the digital multimeter operating manual, and in this case, it is fairly verbose. It's a little booklet, about 15 pages or so, but it is nice typeset rather, on the font, and easy on the eyes. So good job, Vici, for including a manual with the meter. Now, I'm not sure where, how, why the rumor got started, but if you look online, this is constantly being compared to Fluke. All sorts of different models of Flukes, but nonetheless Flukes. And you know what? It ain't right. Even on the box, believe it or not, it actually says paired Fluke. I'm assuming that was compared Fluke. Anyway, they're trying to cash in on this interesting, really, just not a Fluke. Okay, it's not a Fluke, it's a Vici. I don't know if they came up with the name Vici. I keep wanting to say like Vici Suarez, or Vici Leonardo da Vinci. No, that's Da Vinci. Well, anyway, interesting. It ships in a orange boot. I believe in the early days, this was a yellow boot. Now, Fluke, as we know, does have good lawyers, so the boot magically turned to orange. It's a very soft silicone boot, a little bit different than you get on your standard CHEAP-O fare. Actually, probably a step up in terms of the overall feel, so good job on the boot. And if we take a look at the back, we've got those two nice recessed probe holders as well. And of course, let's not forget that flip stand. So it comes out at quite an angle, as you can see. That's definitely more than 45 degrees. We're hitting like 90-degree angle here. So it is really recessed when it's on the bench. Starting off with the rotary selector switch, the off at the 9 o'clock position. Volts DC, up to 1000 volts. Volts AC, up to 750 volts. Resistance, diode, and continuity. Capacitance, up to 2 millifarad. Frequency, up to a whopping 60 megahertz. Temperature, in both Celsius and Fahrenheit. HFE, also known as transistor tester. Microamps, AC-DC. Milliamps, AC-DC. Finally, high current to amps, AC-DC, up to 20 amps. Taking a look at the selector buttons themselves, starting with the left, we have our max min, followed by the frequency and duty cycle, our rel right in the middle, touch hold on the right, and on the far right, our range select. Below that, we have our transistor inserts, and of course, the AC-DC selector. Over here, we have the temperature inserts, the positive, negative. Now, do take note, this does have a sensor on board. So if you just want ambient temperature, you don't have to worry about inserting the temperature probe. On the right, we have our voltage, resistance, and frequency insert, followed by the common in the middle. Left-hand side, we have milliamp up to 600 milliamps. Finally, the high current, 20 amps, so they say, 10-second max. Let's turn the Vici VC99 on for the first time. Bada boo, bada bing, bada bang. Yes, there you have it. Now, I have to say it's kind of ho-hum city. Definitely nothing to get too excited about. For me, the font is a little bit washed out. Definitely not super contrasty. And you can see that viewing angle does fade depending on how you're looking at it. As well, to add insult to injury, there is no backlight. So sometimes you can make up for a so-so ho-hum LCD display with a backlight. In this case, we have neither. At the bottom, you'll notice that bar graph, good stuff, always a bonus. We get bar graph on a CHEAP-O meter. Speaking of cheap, this cost a whopping, a load of this, I paid $29.99, just under $30 Canadian for this beast. It's about 25, 26 US dollars. That's cheap. Now this is definitely a pretty sexy little meter. Hey, this might be 10 years old in design, but you know what? I still think it's got some oomph to it. Yeah, I think this is the type of meter you could take home to mom. Well, that's his mum's into meters. Voltage reference is out. We should be looking at 250 millivolts, 249.73 counts off, and this little guy was heating up for about 20 minutes. Not the meter, the voltage reference. All right, let's switch it over to volt mode. Now we should see 2.50 volts. And yeah, 2.502. Excellent. After approximately 10-15 minutes, the Vici will give you an audible alarm that it is about to shut down. It'll do that by emitting 5 beeps 5 times in a row. Just like that. There you have it. Now to get back into it, you can hit any button. Doesn't really matter. Want to disable that auto power off. The top right, you see it says APO. Simply a matter of turning off the meter, turning it back on. But when you turn it on, hold down on that DC AC key. And you can see the APO has now been disabled. No problem with AC volts. Spot on with the VC99. Resistance is next. Now this has a 60 mega ohm threshold. Got the decade box, and we're sitting at 9 mega ohm right now, and pretty darn close. Take it down to 8. 6 mega ohm, and a little slow to settle. Take it down to 4 mega ohm. Now you can see what I mean by that display. Just not easy on the eyes. 4 mega ohm down to 2 mega ohm, 1 mega ohm. Yeah, it's not the quickest in terms of getting to that finite resolution. Let's try this 0.5 resistor one more time. Yeah, so it's, yeah, well, 0.7, 0.8. Probably would not be the best meter to use for lower resistance ranges. Seems a little bit on the flaky side in that respect, but yeah. Starting off with the green LED in diode mode. Hey, look at that. It is lit, and there's our forward voltage drop. Over to the yellow, looking good. Over to the red, same thing. Into the blue, well, we have it lit up, although it is not giving us a display. Following the white, same thing. So 3 out of 5, not bad, and it did light them all up 5 for 5. Not too shabby. VC99 is putting out a respectable 2.8 volts in diode mode. Alrighty, Aphrodite, we are in continuity mode. That's right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow. Absolutely atrocious. Yeah. You know, if you hold them together after 2 seconds, it does latch. But it's a really weak sounding continuity, and it is just pathetically slow. Probe masters are next. Will it make any difference? No, unfortunately not. Still atrociously slow, even with these probe masters. No good. No good at all. It's slow, but it's fairly loud, at least according to the decibel tester. 79.4 dBA. So 10 megahertz, no problem. Unfortunately, that's as high as I can take it today. But yeah, if I can go up to that 60, that is pretty decent in the frequency department. Another really nice feature with the VC99 is that built-in temperature. So we've got Celsius and we have Fahrenheit at the push of a button. Once again, that onboard sensor means you do not have to insert a thermal probe if you don't want to. Now, if you do want to insert that thermal probe, you know, by all means you can. I've got the pace out, and I'm going to stick the end of the soldering tip onto that thermal probe. And let's see, we're showing 595 degrees on the pace, and yeah, that's pretty darn close. Excellent. Capacitance mode is next. Now this is rather slow, painfully slow when it comes to capacitance. Really, this is just a tiny little 100 microfarad cap. Remember, this only does 2000 microfarad or 2 millifarad. That's it, that's all. Okay, I'm now testing that 100 microfarad electrolytic cap, and as you can see, it is really slow. And finally, there we are, 110.3 microfarad. So if you do a lot of capacitance testing, you're probably not going to be wanting using this as your meter. Voltage showdown is next. Now, because this poor Vici is always getting compared to a Fluke, usually the Fluke 17B, but in this case, any Fluke will do. I've got the Fluke 83 up against the VC99, sitting at 4.6 volts, and look at that, both 4.70 with that extra count of resolution on the VC, 4.707. So far, so good. Here we go, taking it up. 9.5 volts according to the DC power supply, 9.60 for the Fluke, 9.61 for the VC99, up and away. 15, 16, 16.3 volts, 16.35 for the Fluke, 16.37 for the Vici. Super close. 26.4 volts, 26.47 for the Fluke, 26.51 for the VC99. And we're going to max it out now. 31.5 volts, 31.59, spot on for the Fluke, 31.64 for the Vici VC99. So, wow. Very, very close. 5-6 counts off. Definitely within spec. And hey, look what you're going up against, Vici, the Grandmaster, the Fluke 83. Good job. You notice both of these meters have that bar graph, so let's just move it a little bit back and forth and just see if there's any difference in terms of the overall speed. And I gotta say, they are neck and neck. No, I do not see one iota of difference. Already we're in milliamp mode, sitting at around 100 milliamps. Remember, we have 600 milliamp as our threshold, taking it up 200 milliamps, 300, 400, 550, 580, just on the cusp. Let's take it over 600, and now we have an over limit. Bring it back down, and we are good to go. No problem in the milliamps. Well, I have to say, I'm kind of impressed with the VC99 for a meter that's been around for a long, long time. And I know this thing has been reviewed to death. But you know what? That being said, it is the latest incarnation of this little beast. And I have to say, all things considered, it's doing quite well. VC99 is powered by two AAA batteries. And you can see here, this is where the battery cover goes into. And yeah, directly into plastic. No brass standoffs. Too bad. I hate it when I see that. Alrighty, here we go, taking it off, and we are in. And whoa, look at that, folks. This is the first CHEAP-O I have seen in a long time that actually has shielding. Wow, round of applause. Vici, good job. Why don't we see this on every dang multimeter? Excellent. So unfortunately, first off, it's not good in the flux department. A lot of residue all over that PCB. It is really, really, really grungy. And that's too bad, because over time that can cause all sorts of little quirks and conundrums. Is that even a word? For your multimeter. If you can, give it a good cleaning with some isopropyl alcohol and a cotton swab. Get in there and get all of this crap out of here, and it will make a big difference. See the fab date, VC99 version 7, dated 2015, March 20th. Now, funny enough, I've taken off the other side, and I was going to look at that rotary selector switch, and you can see what they've done here. They've actually negated the two screws on the bottom of that rotary selector switch. So here and here. They've got the other two at the top here, but they did not follow through and finish it off. So that's too bad. That's a little wonky. Wow, speaking of wonky, there's the track pads for the selector switch, and these seem to be in there pretty good. No worries there. Starting off at the bottom with those input jacks. Now those are soldered directly to the PCB. Now over time, yes, these can eventually come loose or cracked at the soldering joints, and simple to touch up. But yeah, you know, honestly, it's a CHEAP-O meter. We're talking 25 bucks American, right? So I don't think it's that big of a deal. You're going to get a lot of wear and tear on any meter eventually. And for your 25 bucks, this should last a long time. And when they do crack, hey, pull out the soldering iron. On the voltage side of things, we have 2 PTCs adding to a little bit of protection. Now remember, this is a low-level bench electronics meter, so really this is nothing more than a Cat 2 rating, despite what anything says. Great for home, great for measuring your home style voltage, 120 volts, what have you, but you're definitely not going to want to go above 120, 220 perhaps volts. No. On the high current side, we have not a 20 amp fuse as they are claiming on the front. No, indeed, this is a 12 amp 250 volt fuse. Shame on you, Vici. Don't be saying 20 when you're putting in a 12 amp fuse. That's not good. Not good at all. On the milliamp side, same thing. They're claiming 600 milliamps on the front. This is only a 500 milliamp fuse. Why, oh why do they do that? Going up the PCB, here are the tracks for the rotary selector switch. And look at that, we have some pretty decent spacing. Now, I thought this was gold-plated at first, but no, second thought, I'm thinking this is probably cheaper style nickel plating. Yeah, but anyway, that being said, there is a lot of distance, which I like. And generally, wear and tear-wise, I think that is going to last a fairly long time. Notice on the PCB, there is a variety of trim pots. So you can, in theory, adjust this meter if you would like. So the top of the LCD panel is attached via 4 Phillips, and on the reverse side we see the zebra strip for the display. At the top, the brains of the unit, the Fortune Semiconductor FS9922 DMM4 main IC. And adjacent to the main IC we have, of course, our speaker. Well, that's about it. That's all, guys. In a nutshell, that's what the VC99 looks like on the inside. Okay, I'm going to put this back together and come back with my closing thoughts. Closing thoughts on the Vici VC99. Hey, this meter really surprised me. You know, I was not sure if I wanted to review it because it has just been reviewed so many times before. But you know what? I'm glad I did. Hey, I'm really impressed. And all in all, this thing kind of rocks. Couple of negatives. The continuity, for instance, sucked the big one. It was so slow and oh, so pathetically bad sounding. Ugh. Another thing is this tilt stand. I gotta say, it drives me crazy. It's really hard to pull out, and when you do, it just doesn't want to stay up. It just wants to like go back to sleep. 90-degree angles just drives me crazy. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. But positives, it had a few really good things. Accurate, fairly fast. And you know what? Even though it doesn't have a backlight, I gotta say, the display actually isn't as bad as I originally thought. It ain't no fluke, but in the accuracy department, you know what? Hey, it did just as good as my calibrated Fluke 83. Not too shabby. Let's not forget that 60 megahertz. Unheard of in the CHEAP-O realm. Heck, that's unheard of in a lot of multimeters. At the end of the day, we're talking 25 bucks US, 30 Canadian. What can I say? This meter has a lot of bang for the proverbial buck. You even get a carry case. And look at the temperature. I've got to say, this is probably one of the most accurate temperature reading probes I have come across in a long, long time. Really too bad about the build quality because, you know, inside there's some really good things. We had shielding which you just don't see these days on CHEAP-O meters. But at the same time, they forgot 2 screws for that rotary selector switch. Unforgivable. So what's it going to be, Vici? Do you really care, or do you just care about it sometimes? At the end of the day, this meter has been around for quite a while, and I think it just keeps getting better. Hopefully a couple more revisions, and this thing can truly be a complete classic. Vici VC99 gets a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. Hey, thanks for watching this review, everybody. Don't forget about that big Christmas live chat giveaway coming up in December. Stay tuned for more on that. It's going to be fun, fun, fun. Ho, ho, ho. I hope to see you there. Till the next one, keep on testing.